It's Open House Thursday on YourView. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Mariam Longa. Hi. How you doing?
I'm cold.
Don't worry, they're going to adjust it.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Good. So today I just want to remind every one of us again about our environment, specifically our vultures. We know that they are the sanitation officers of our environment. Without them, we'll fall ill. Without them, we'll be spending so much time in the hospital. So if we have them growing and allowing them to do their jobs without poaching, killing them, using them for all sorts of things, then we'll have a better, more balanced environment where we can all live healthily and happily together. So don't kill the vultures, save the vultures. Thank you.
I wonder, the vultures in Nigeria, are they as healthy as those vultures we see abroad? Do they look very... I mean, do they...
When they were healthy until people started using them for all sorts of things. People eat them, people use them for... They say that the eye of the vulture... I'm not campaign for those that kill them. But anyway, yeah, so they've made their habitat unconducive for them, you know. So.
Wow. How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good, grateful to God for life, that we are here, not taking anything for granted. I also wanted to highlight something. I realized that people that do the right things, especially while driving, almost tend to feel bad for doing the right things because a lot of people that cheat tend to get away faster, or they follow the one way and they escape faster, and you have to toe the right path. I believe that as citizens, we need to change the culture of cutting corners to achieve our goals, and it would mean that we would feel uncomfortable for a while. But I remember when I was in the US that I was so used to, like, we just missed that stone, let's reverse and follow it. And they said, no, you don't reverse here to follow
the express.
You look for the next turn. And that is the culture they built over there over time. We must also take the pain to build the culture of discipline and not selfish, personalized, I want to get
you know what I've learned?
fast.
I think I learned a lot from the insurrection that happened in the US because everybody can be crazy. Even the foreigners that you think that are sane, many of them can go crazy, but it's when the law is there. The system is there to check your excesses. So it's because here you do things, you break the law, you break the lights, nothing happens. If you run the red lights in the US, the police will, you just hear the siren, they'll stop you immediately, or even the camera, you just see a bill in your mailbox. But here, there is no sanction for stuff like that. So that's why.
It's beginning to change now, and I'm happy with what the governments are doing, especially in Lagos State. So there was a day I, passed
cameras.
Yes, I didn't. Me care. I don't. In fact, I had issues with my drivers when they started. I always say you don't pass the red light. Once you see, even if it's early in the morning, because I used to leave very early in the morning, you must wait and obey traffic. I don't take it. So that particular day, I think I passed, and the camera caught me. Apparently, my paper had expired, and I didn't know.
Oh, they sent bill.
They sent bill.
In Lagos?
They don't have those cameras, so when you pass it, before you're meant to pass, it will take a picture of you.
So I think
they have that.
One of the ways that we can solve this issue is to ensure that we set up, like you mentioned, systems in place, so that even if you get to your hole, your bill will come and
don't wait for you.
You get a text message.
Interesting. How are you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing. We're counting down to Nurturing the Nurturer. Masterclass is on the 28th of this month. The facilitators are ready. Teachers are ready.
Virtual? It's been nice for physical.
Yes. Next year, see, it's a lot of money. Well, I'm still doing this myself, so it's a lot of money. But I'm looking at doing a physical class next year. We started with the physical class, but COVID now. So let's finish this year first. Let me gather myself. Then we'll see what will happen next year. So we're ready.
That's good. Good to know.
How about you?
I'm fine. I'm doing well. A few things I'm working on. I'm excited just to keep me busy. I'm working, as I told you, around with the website, the viral facts, talking about getting your vaccines. So I just want to also remind people to please take your vaccines. That's the only way we can defeat COVID.
I'm sure you believe if you say it long enough, people will get the message.
Yeah, people get the message.
Like, go and do it.
They're scared of it.
We have taken it, we have not died.
Yes, we've taken it, and all of us here are vaccinated.
Magnets anyway.
Nothing. So please get your vaccines. Extremely important. You can go out, you can have your normal lives back. Yes, you can be careless, but at least you can live comfortably knowing that you've been vaccinated. Okay, let's go on a short break. When we return, we look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, so we're going to start with The Nation. Buhari, $50 billion investment lost in 10 years without oil sector law. Blasphemy case, Sharia court to rule on Sands' appearance. FEC approves $21.11 billion for aviation, education, and others. Court turns down government's request to dismiss Igboho's suit. NNPC targets ventures in gas-fired 5,000 megawatts. Gunmen attack empty bullion van in Ondo and declare Buni-led caretaker panel illegal, APC chief tells court. Okay, let's start.
Gunmen that attacked bullion van.
Please.
Yes, so this happened in Ekiti State. I think Emure-Ile Junction. So about 3 p.m., this bullion van was moving, and then gunmen attacked. The report did not give us the number of gunmen, but there was a major shootout, and one of the security officials guarding the bullion van was hit. He's been taken to the hospital. So the remaining security officials guarding the bullion van ran into the bush. The driver ran into the bush. But the state government has confirmed the story, and policemen are currently chasing the remaining armed robbers that had run into the bush. They are blocking all the exits to ensure that they get them. But the other guy who was shot has been taken to the hospital.
Okay, another killing that took place within 2 killings, actually. 6 were killed in Chando Zurich area of Mayango district in Bassa Council of Plateau State, while 11 were killed in Dansadu Emirate of Maru Council of Zamfara State. In that same emirate in Zamfara State, 40 persons were abducted. Most of them were women and children. And, about 10 students were abducted. Also, again, in Faskari Council of Katsina State, teachers this time were among the adoptees, and the police spokesman confirmed this incident took place. All attacks happened on Tuesday, and we're praying for peace. I think that I've seen all over social media, people are praying for Afghanistan, praying for, I'm like, can we, pray for peace in Nigeria? Can we pray? Can we put Plateau in prayer? Can we put Zamfara? Can we put all the kidnaps in prayer? Can we make it go viral within our own nation? Not just, yes, I know we should pray for Afghanistan, but we need more than prayers. We also need security to up their game in these areas.
Okay, so in Kano State, we remember there's the Sheikh Abdul Jabbar Kabara is before the Sharia court for blasphemy against the Prophet. And although in his defense, he says he was not making any controversial commentaries towards the Prophet, he was just calling out Islamic extremists. But the problem before the Sharia court is now that they have Sands to be on the side of government. And the Sheikh's representatives are saying that it is not in the Constitution does not allow for Sands to be in a lower court or to come and defend that case. And so the case has been adjourned until the Sharia court can determine if Sands can come and, plead the case, plead government side in the particular court. But if he's found guilty, he will be hanged. So that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on now to the Punch. States tackle FG today as FAC meets NBA advises governors. Call for self-defense, ACF Middle Belt back Masari, Ohaneze flees governor. Shokapu falls arms ban. IT investments dropped by $53 million in 1 year. Ogun driver accuses security firm of abandonment after suffering stroke. Lalong begs warring groups. Gunmen kill 5, 4 missing. Picture here of scenes at the destruction of fake and expired pharmaceutical products by NAFDAC, I believe. APC releases timetable for September 4th local government congresses. FEC approves $658 million for sniffer dogs, education, others, and $21 billion. And doctor strike enemy meets NARD Friday. Patients resort to self-care. Okay, let's start with the major headline. Who has that story?
Yes, so the 36 state governors today will have a Federation Accounts and Allocation Committee meeting. That's the FAC meeting, where they are going to be reviewing the Petroleum Industry Bill, which was signed into law on Monday by the president. So one of the things the report said is the fact that they have signed this into law, but the governors had not had an opportunity to have a look at the bill. So the Nigerian Bar Association is asking the governors that they can actually take the federal government, they can challenge this bill in court if it does not meet some of the requirements that they wanted. And they are suspecting that, so first of all, a few governors had, written to the president asking him to withdraw assent to the bill for a bit because they wanted to have more time for negotiations. So they are suspecting that the bill would deny the states their fair share from the federation accounts. And also, the bill is tilted to favor the federal government and the NNPC, which is also going to be turning into a limited liability company. Right. But however, the meeting will be holding today. So if they look at the bill in front of them and they still have more things to talk about, they'll take it to court.
took that story also yesterday, and I think one of the things she said was that, listen, this is coming, 12 years late. We've been talking about PIB for forever. Forever. So you're not objecting, you're not discussing it. We mentioned it that we're going to review. The people kept complaining about that they've not signed this bill. And it's now that the president assented to it, you're now coming. So I'm just a bit worried that it's coming late, but I hope that they can go to court as has been advised. Yes, Mariam.
Yes, so this story from Plateau State. Yeah, taking a bit of it from the nation. So on Tuesday, there was like a reprisal attack for the killings of those victims in the bus. That, right? Yes, well, we expected people will be angry, but we hope that security operatives will be in place to stop it anyway. And this is in spite of the curfew that had been put in that place. So, and then 4 people have also been declared missing. That's from the Irigwe community. And, the Irigwe community is saying that we are constantly being killed and harassed and being blamed for these last killings of those victims, even though we have denied it and we have separated ourselves from that particular act, but it seems like nothing is happening. Also, there's the Kul and Allah Cattle Bearers Association of Nigeria, who are saying that they do not feel that the federal government and the Plateau State government is sincere in fishing out the perpetrators of that previous crime. The governor is just is appealing to everyone. See, let's calm. We cannot let it happen the way it happened so many years ago, the serious crisis constantly day and night. Right. But people, Taraba State and even Plateau State have been taking their students out of uni just because students have been in the school, within the school premises. So they're taking them out in buses and with proper security, just so that whatever crisis or killings happen does not affect them, because it usually affects them. Yeah. That is usually one of their targets when this sort of crisis happens. Okay. And we're just appealing to people of Plateau State, please let's calm down. Let peace reign and let the government do its job.
Who has the Ogun driver?
Yes, I have the Ogun driver's story. His name is Olubumi Olaoluwa, and he suffered stroke while at work. He's a driver attached to a security service company, and he's worked with that company for 10 years. While at work, he was given an assignment, and he just realized he couldn't move his leg. He was feeling pain, and he was forced to walk, and at a point, he just couldn't move again. The pain was so unbearable. They rushed him to 2 different hospitals who rejected him because he couldn't talk anymore. By the time they got to Federal Medical Center at Abeokuta, they gave him treatment. He had stroke, and he lost the use of one side of his body, and then he couldn't talk as well. The wife complained that the company that he worked for 10 years he doesn't have insurance, they didn't offer any amount of money to support his medical treatment, even though it happened while he was at work. They also mentioned how they kept paying his salary just for 4 months, and then they advised him that if he wants to get money, he should resign. And that when he resigns, it would trigger his pension to come to him as a bulk sum. He said he resigned, and months after, they haven't given him anything. That the wife kept going there. They spent 2 million naira on the health service, and that his wife is complaining that the labor people should come and help, because this man worked for 10 years, and his pension was contributed into the account, and they didn't get access to it. This is what we want labor to do. We cannot have, many security men are in this category, many workers are in this category where they have no health cover, they work for years in a company, and if anything happens to them, nothing, they are gone. It is unfair because the company makes a lot of money from these people, and they should be protected.
There's something I also noticed where labor should take it up, where those casual workers or the very low-rung employees would say, pay me a full, complete salary and don't put money towards my insurance. Because the salary is quite small in the first place. So if you are taking out of it, it will not be enough. So just give it to me, and whatever happens, happens in the future. So that is something I think we need to look at.
Which is even better.
No, it's better that they put money towards the insurance, but we have to improve
the companies have to have something for them.
Yeah,
they have
definitely.
some way to ensure that their health care is provided for and their pensions are paid. So I think Labour will say, we're waiting for them to come and report. But the truth is that some of these people will never come and report.
The system.
Yes.
You need to just build that system that works for them and works for the Nigerian people, not just for you chasing up in PIB matters and state matters. Let's go on a break. When we return, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So there was a story I was going to take in the Punch, which is about the renovations or the investments the government is doing into the aviation sector. They're putting in quite a bit of money, about 21 billion will be going into renovating quite a bit of airports. So I have here the Wachakal Airport in Yobe State for 6.3 billion. There'll be post-construction services for the same airport to the 219 million naira, and quite a few others. The interesting one that caught my attention was the fact that they were earmarking 658 million naira for the sniffer dogs in airports, and they also earmarking 985 million for the installation of body cameras, body scanners for international airports. So we're going to be seeing quite a lot of changes in our international airports, and we hope that these monies are judicially used for what it's earmarked for. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Yoruba, Igbo, Arewa, Middle Belt orders back Masari's self-defense call. Southeast leaders creating confusions in IPOB. Kanu lawyer alleges. Lagos gets committee to flush out street beggars and hawkers. Police confirm death of 7 family members in Oshun. UAE removes Nigeria from visa on arrival list. Nigeria lost $50 billion worth of investment in 10 years over the non-passage of the PIB, says Buhari. Okay, let's start with
Let me start from Lagos State.
Yes,
so
please.
Lagos State has set up a special team to stop street begging and hawking. And he says that, first of all, is to make the environment conducive for law-abiding citizens to go about their businesses without feeling under any sort of stress. Because some of these hawkers, first of all, is seen as a business where they have like sponsors who push them out to do this begging and make returns and return to the people that send them out on these streets. Meanwhile, these beggars, so it's also a way of helping them return their dignity, he says. And then also, he says some of them carry weapons, which that they use to harass citizens. And so the government is doing all it can to take them away, take them off the streets, just for their own good and for the good of every other Lagosian.
Yeah, in addition to that, the Commissioner for Youth and Social Development has said that 728 beggars were arrested from January to July. Adult male, 345, adult females 241, and children were 142. And what they are going to do, because I was worried initially when you pick them up from the streets, where do you leave them? So they said they are putting them in the rehabilitation centers. They're going to be giving them therapy. They're going to be training them, giving them vocational training so that everybody is settled.
There's quite a bit of them on the island.
Yes, and they are investing a lot into this. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to take the major headlines. Many people had condemned Governor Masari's utterances, saying that people should defend themselves. I mean, the Governor Castina says. He was also echoing what the governor, I think, of Benue State had said months ago, back in May, that we should defend ourselves. But the Yoruba, Igbo, Arewa, and Middle Belt leaders were also agreeing with the governor of Castina, saying that the government that we have right now have filled the people in security, and people must begin to see what they can do to self-help. Although other experts have said that is wrong for anybody to say that Nigerians should defend themselves, that the government should be the one to defend our people. And but if you recall, what he was saying was that he said at their younger days, we stand to fight any aggression coming for us. I don't know why people are running from minor things like this. I don't know what you
minor.
understand. Says that they should stand and let these people know that even the villagers have the competency and capabilities to defend themselves. That's what the governor was saying.
Do you know what is worrying about this is that, okay, we have a case in Plateau State where people are thinking, you killed us, you did not kill us, you know, it's your side that did it, reprisal attacks. Because you are not a security official, you do not know how to do the profiling, maybe, and you do not have the backing of then the government now comes in and say, okay, why did you do it? And if you say, oh, we're just defending ourselves, we're like, but they are not criminals. Like, how am I supposed to know? You know, so we should put that thing aside and let go.
Bring out the gun fast.
Exactly, and at that point, what are you defending if you're running for your lives?
It just doesn't make sense. Let me take the UAE story. So, FE had released a list of countries yesterday, and it showed that Nigeria as well as South Africa has been removed from the list of people who could get visa on arrival in any country, any place in UAE. Apparently, even including any visitor who's been to Nigeria or South Africa in 14 days before their trip will not be allowed into the UAE. They had lifted the ban before, just barely a few days after they imposed it again in June, suspending all flights from Lagos and Abuja. And the Emirates has prevented anybody from their own authorities and nationals from visiting Nigeria and some other countries because of uncontrolled exposure to COVID-19. So that's their reason. And I believe that the government should really look into it. The Minister of Foreign Affairs should look into it. What are we doing? And what are we doing wrong? How are we managing our relationship with these countries?
Have they lifted the ban now?
No.
Wow.
Moving on to Vanguard. PIA, Sylvia under fire for 3% equity, Buhari begs. Let's find a story of not taking. We won't rest until we regulate social media in Nigeria, says Alhaji Lai Mohammed. PFS deploy more pension assets to corporate bonds. 2019 audit report reveals unsubstantiated balances of 4.97 trillion naira, AGF tells National Assembly. APC schedules local government congresses for September 4th. After COVID-19 scare, Unilag reopens hostels. Youth protest killing of 17-year-old boy in Ibadan. Okay, which story are we taking?
Okay, so after COVID-19 scare, Unilag reopens hostels, but it says that, first of all, in order to ensure that the second semester is completed, they would immediately commence the online lectures via the University Learning Management System. But by the 26th of August, they would come physically to write their exams, and that in doing that, they make sure that everyone who will be on the school premises follow the COVID-19 protocols. And there's the special arrangements have been made with Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Bagada General Hospital for necessary isolation and treatment if there's any incident of COVID-19 case.
Okay, so a passenger on board with the Minister of Culture and Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, leaked a video of him and tagged it saying that he was sneaking out of the country to meet with Twitter. So, and that went viral yesterday, I think, and the minister himself had responded saying that how can I sneak out of the country? That he was at the international airport, he presented himself.
What are Nigerians looking for?
Himself that this only buttresses the point why social media must be regulated, because you can just come up with anything and just tag it and then it goes viral. That, why would he sneak out? That he's going to ensure that he's assuring us that he will not rest onto the regular social media, because there are lots of people that are going out with false information, fake information, and just, you know, and it's getting out.
But was he going to meet Twitter?
No, he said, I'm here now. Am I meeting Twitter? He's not here to meet Twitter. The guy just was minding his business, traveling abroad, and then they said he was sneaking out to go and meet Twitter. He said, no, that he's going to ensure that Twitter actually does get a license to have an office in Nigeria, and then be able to, you know, engage some of our people.
We need to be careful with some of this fake news. We need to really be careful.
We are just jobless.
If they block everything, that's
no. So it would have been uninteresting if they said Lai Mohammed at the airport.
What is interesting?
But if you have to put
because then it goes viral, and then you get the likes, and then you get the followings. Okay, Daily Trust doubts trail surrender of Boko Haram members. Despite drop in inflation rate, prices of goods, food stuff on the rise. I think Tokwe should have that story.
I took that, actually.
2 years after constituents lament as fate of 14 Edo lawmakers elect hangs. Kano NGO awards scholarship to 70 girl child orphans. Please, BC, tell me what's going on with food. I really need to hear that story.
So our inflation has been dropping gradually, although it's dropping little by little. So we had from 18.17% in March, and now we have 17.38%, according to the report released by the National Bureau of Statistics. So, but this is not reflecting in the prices of food, because the price of food has gradually been going up. So some farmers and sellers were saying that white beans that was selling for 600 naira now sells for 800 naira. Red beans goes for 1,000. And was selling for 800 naira before. A 5 liter of groundnut oil goes for 5,300. It was selling 5,300 before. Now it sells for 5,500. So across, because farmers in Abuja, marketers in the Kano, the Southwest, and all that, they told how their prices have just gradually been going up, and yet we see the figures that inflation is dropping. Right. So experts are saying that we're not seeing that inflation drop because it's still in trickles. We've not gotten like a major drop in inflation, and that's why food prices are going up. And also we know that the flood also is also a problem. Farmers that are not able to go to the farms in the north is also a problem. And all these things are just adding to the normal human being, how we can survive.
Potatoes the other day, and it's like the numbers have really.
I got schooled. Mariam was telling me that the communities that are having that were having challenges, that they are known for sweet, that they are known for potatoes. So
tomatoes, peppers.
Those are the communities in Plateau that are having this crisis.
And it just decided.
So what goes around comes around. Like we don't get it. It affects everybody.
There's an
so
economic impact of insecurity.
Yes, somebody dies in Plateau and you have no food to eat in Lagos. But you start buying 2 pieces of potato for 500 naira. It doesn't make sense.
Plantain, have you seen plantain recently?
Yeah, and it goes round.
Plantain is now
4 pieces 2,000.
Plantain for rich people.
I don't know about plantain in 2 weeks. So I said I can't go back.
My husband went to Benin, so we're lucky.
I didn't buy plantain.
BC, you cannot say that. Every time someone takes a picture of plantain and says this is the price they bought it, social media attacks them that they are lying.
Yeah, that's not that guy.
Yes.
That guy.
I did not snap my own plantain.
Anyways, let me have a bought plantain. Go ahead, Nima.
Yeah, so in Kano State, about 70 girl child orphans have been given scholarship by a non-governmental organization called Initiative for the Support of Victims of Social Abuse, Orphans and Less Privileged. So they've targeted children within the age of 3 and 10 in primary schools who have lost their parents. And so on the particular day, so it's reported that they gave the parents ATM cards containing 33,000 naira each. So I'm guessing maybe the guardians they mean, because these are orphans, so they don't have parents anymore, for 33,000 naira each, and they have a total of 200 orphans, girl child orphans that they want to do this for. And I say kudos to them and well done, but also just looking forward in helping, yes. I would prefer that you put money towards the schools and maybe feeding uniforms instead of handing people cash. Because there's so many things at home that can take that money away, and before you know it, that child does not get.
Sadly, we couldn't take the story of Boko Haram. They are suspecting their.
We have lost that time.
I know.
Already. Let's go on a break. It's Thursday. So much to just about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Today, we're going to be talking about step-motherhood. Many of us have been told to mind our business when it comes to making decisions for children that are not biologically ours. According to reports, some children often resent stepmothers for trying to take the place of their own mother. The question is, how can a stepmother be a real mother to a child? Let's hear your thoughts on this. You can call us on 081-270-53687. 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on Facebook and on YouTube. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. This is an important conversation because there are lots of people, and I don't also want to say stepmother alone. There's no stepfathers, so there's being a father or being a mother to a child that is not yours. because you know that, first of all, the child is coming with a lot of emotional baggage, the fact that either the mother has died or the mother and the father, they're divorced, and there's a lot of resentment within their own system, within their own hearts and all. So how does a stepmother coming in relate with a child who's going through a lot of emotional challenges at the time? And some kids act as if there's nothing, they're fine with it. But at some point, you're not equipped to help manage. And you also want to show love. You want to let your spouse know that you love his or her child. So how do you see this? None of us are in these shoes, but we've somewhat experienced stepmother-ish. Well, okay, let me not say we're not in this, but oh yes, I remember now. My mind. But yes, so I'll probably start with you because you've lived that, and I'd like you to share. You are living that. You're living that.
I have some kids.
Yes, you do have stepkids. Just lost my mind. Yeah. So let me hear.
Well, they're not children. Kids. Yeah. And at the time I met their father, they were teenagers. And their mother is very much in their lives. So it wasn't a case of you're coming, really like, you're coming to take our mother. I didn't get that, okay, from my own experience, I didn't get that you're coming to take anybody's place. But I knew that also, I think it helped that I come from a family where I also have a stepfather. So, and I understood how we related with him, which was, but when he came into our lives, we were much younger than my own stepchildren are when I came into their own lives. So it was so easy for us to fall in love with him because he'll pick us up from school and take us to nice places to have lunch. Oh, he was just amazing, you know, so that was easy. But these were grown-ups, you know, to a certain extent. And it was for me, because this is what I wanted. I did not want anyone, in my own case, to show them as if they were my father or they were taking over. I just wanted to build a relationship with the person. And I think my stepdad did that, which he did not just come and say, I'm giving you this, punish us, whatever. If he had any issues with us, he would talk to my mom about it. And I think I respected that. And over time, we built, you know, our relationship. And then I have a brother that, you know, we share. And I love my brother, you know, I love my brother to pieces. So, and he's the father of my brother. So with my stepchildren, I think I came in that way as well. First of all, I'm also not the sort of person that just throws myself into everything. I take my time. And I think for them, they grew to know me and they grew to love me. Of course, they're different personalities. I have one of my stepdaughters. She's just so sweet. She's like my daughter. My own daughter, Ima. She finds it easy to just love people and warm up to people. But the others, it took time. And it was okay. Because then there's even less room for clashes. There's less room for animosity, confrontation. And secondly, my husband played a very important role in how that relationship worked. So he said to me, sometimes he says, if you have any issues, speak to me and I'll speak to them about it. It will be uncomfortable for them to think that all of a sudden you've come and you're ordering people around. Even if that was not what you meant, it will come across that way.
Let me let you pause for a second because the conversation is the struggle the person goes through. How do I make myself a good mother to these children? How do I work with myself? How do I? Because I'm not a perfect human being. I'm not a perfect
experience because this one is perfect. Like
I'm not a perfect person. I want to hear that.
So,
I like
I grew up with different stepmothers. Plenty.
Oh, this is a perfect stepmother.
I'm telling you.
The producer said
I didn't process it.
So, and what I realized was, because being a child, for every woman that came into the house, I just had a place in my heart that you're not my mother. I had that already. And that's, you know, showed in how I related with the person. Even when they are coming with their hearts open, they want to love me. I just had this, you're not my mother, you know, and which I believe that every child has. But it's easier when the child or the children when you get into the home, it's easier when the children are small. So they find a way to accept you as their parents quickly. because that's all they are seeing. They're still in their formative years. So even at that time, what I would advise someone who's in that position is not to assert yourself. You don't rush into things. If you have anything you want to talk to, any behavior you want to correct on the children, you can always pass it through their father, through who they know. You can. But it's easier when everybody is a child. You can, and maybe you now have your own children. You can send them on errands together. You buy things for them together. So they accept you. They see you as a mother figure faster than when you come into the house when the person is already an adult, when the children. So I had different series of stepmothers. I had those that came in when I was still growing. And how I related, it was easy for me to relate with them. And I saw how they tried to love me, to make me happy. I saw the efforts, but as a child, I wasn't processing. Then when I grew and the other people came, those ones who wanted to start ordering me around, I'm like, hey, you're not my mom. Because I was big. I was an adult. I knew what I wanted. So those who were sensible knew they had to go to my father if they needed to reach me. But as I grew very early in terms of my head, my mind, and I quickly understood that it's not anybody's fault that my mother is not here. I have to respect this person. But till those children get to that point, it's very important that you don't force it. So don't come in trying to please. That's one thing you need to tell yourself. Come in being yourself, being a good human being, and treat them the way you would treat your own biological children. But don't impose because I want them, they must like me.
Okay, so I hear that, but see, there's sometimes you come into, and these children are really bad. I mean, I've had experiences where you come into, you love your husband, but the kids here, they're just rascals. You know, these kids have been unruly because they lost their mother for like 4 years or so. So they need a lot of reorientation and, you know, and some kind of discipline, but you don't want to also assert yourself, but at the same time, you want to help. So a woman is caught between, how do I be a disciplinarian and help this children? Because tomorrow they'll like me for it, they'll thank me for it. But now, I'm trying to please them. I also don't want to go on their head, on the bad side. So it's a difficult situation for a woman to be in. Talk about your thoughts on this.
I have no experience. I'm an only child. I never lived with anybody per se. But one of the things that I realized is that we are judging beings. So, as human beings, we judge. We see other people's children, we judge. They didn't great. They are scattered. The hair is rough, or the shoe. Why would a parent let a child look like this? Like, we're always judging. Like, unconsciously, we judge. And most times, when you're a stepmother or stepfather, you come to a relationship, your first reaction is to ascertain and judge the person. And it's a different thing. You see, my children might not greet, but they're my children. Yab them. You know, they're my children. I know that they are imperfect. I know there are faults, but they are mine. So it's a different response that we give to the same thing if displayed within our own children. But when it is from the other person's child, we unconsciously judge. So I think the first thing I would say anybody as a step is don't judge that person. And most of us as parents, we learned parenting fumbling our way through. So if you are a step and you are not a parent before, you are not going to start experimenting with another person's child. Don't try it. Get a professional person. And it's very important. If you feel children are unruly, you really want to help that child. You don't have the blueprint of how to deal with every child. Even parents that have 4 or 5 children, I'm trying to know how to deal with each personality. It's important that people should consult psychologists and professionals because if you're entering a life of a child who's been traumatized, you have no idea how to deal with that trauma. You are not a psychologist. So, but we don't do that here. Each person now begins to relate from their head knowledge with a human being who is going through trauma. There is nothing you can do. Either you pray or you get a professional to help you understand what that person is going through and help you mediate that journey.
All right, let me pray.
I'm going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss the role of the fathers.
I want to hear your spouses.
And we'll also hear I'd like to hear our callers, those who have experiences and how you manage through it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We want to hear your story.
Thanks for coming, my host.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still talking about step-motherhood. And, you know, I mean, many of you already know that I come from a polygamous family. So my mother was the first wife. And my stepmother was, it wasn't a nice, lovey-dovey relationship. You know, my mother was in Bagada, she was in the solo, you know, and I used to go to her house every weekend. And it was more of, I don't think there was any attempt to, it was just an attempt to make me
love her.
Yeah, it was not, she wasn't trying to make me love her. You know, when you try to elicit information from a young girl, so I constantly felt I was going there, what information do I have?
To be quizzed.
You're constantly going there to be asked questions. So, even as a child, you start looking for things. Okay, my mother woke up like this, she stood up like that. You know, I'm looking for information to give you. So, you know, as a child, because you know, when you go there, they will say, hey, so what happened? How did she stand up? How did she sit down? Stuff like that. And you constantly, so it was that was my own experience as a stepmother. But I know that my stepmother always had that. She tried to make me part of the whole thing, which was great. I know she made efforts. But as I grew up and I look back and I'm thinking, these were towards a certain thing. And it was just that my father tried really hard to make it all perfect. But the truth, and that's where I wanted us to take this conversation to, the role of the man in this. It's not perfect. The moment there's somebody else in the picture, it's not perfect. Yeah. Because people try to make that extra effort. Say, okay, I love you, I love them, I love everybody together. We are sharing this thing equally. No, it's not equal. You can try, but what you do is everybody should have, you must make that extra effort to make everybody feel that, listen, I am loved by this man, regardless of the excesses. And that was where that's where a lot of men fall short in sharing the love such that nobody feels like I'm inadequate. So in the situation whereby the first wife or the other mother is not there, the mother coming in is one issue. A situation whereby the mother is still there, and you are second wife, especially in the polygamous home, I'd like to hear from them.
I think that one is easier.
How do you manage as a stepmother, knowing that I have a first wife? Because I have seen polygamous homes where the second wife, third wife come and respect the first two wives. And there's regard, and they're okay with it, and there's respect. Though it's hard, there's competition, but even there's competition, you yourself, you know your position, you're number 3. So you don't say too much.
Yeah, Mariah, I think it's even easier when the first wife is there. Okay. So they marry you into a polygamous home. The first wife, second wife, the third wife, they are all present. They all have their children there. So what happens is everybody looks out for their children, and the ability of the man to ensure that there's law and order, and he's involved. So this is where the men need to really, really be involved in that relationship. So the man needs to put his foot down. The man needs to establish rules. See, marriage is not for children. If you're not matured in your heart to love one person, you want to carry 2 or 3 on your own. No? So you need to be involved. You need to be observant. So those things that you feel, this is not what I want, this is going to cause division, and you don't use your hand to cause that division. So what happens is you now pick a favorite, and then you now pick a favorite child or from one of the, wives, and then people now start fighting to earn your love, and that's why you hear things like jazz now enters and all of that. But for me, that one is even a lot easier. The stepmother where there is no first wife, either the first wife has died or not available, is harder, because you as the stepmother, you are trying to please and trying for the family to accept you, trying for these kids to accept you. What I would advise is the man needs to step up as well and make the children understand that this woman is not replacing your mother. She's not here to take away your mother from my heart or whatever it is. She's here because I need a companion. And whatever happened with your mother, whether she died or she left, has happened, and we need to move on. And you need to respect her. My father kept, reminding me that I needed to respect my stepmother. And I will appeal to the stepmothers also to give it time. Everything falls into place with time. We did a movie during the girls' night, Mom. I don't know if you watched before you left. And this particular woman was trying her best to make sure this stepdaughter loved her. She did everything till the girl was raped and that. And then she went to fight all of those people that raped her. That was when she realized that this is actually my mom. And she screamed, Mom. But that woman from the beginning was trying everything to make sure, just see me. I'm here for you. See me.
Let me take this call from Kaduna. This is a very, very good point. Good morning. Are you there? Ogbanachi. Oh, I lost that call. So as I said, I wanted us to focus on the role of the man in question and also his family. His family is also part, because they want to remind, not the first wife. I remember when they met them. Stuff like, they'll tell you those kind of stories.
The first wife, we do. Oh, pure. This second wife is not drawing.
So let's start with the role. Where do we think the men can play better roles in this kind of situation?
I think it's good to lay boundaries from the very beginning of what the stepmother is allowed, what her role is, and how far she's allowed to go as it concerns the relationship with the children. And also, when you talk about the family, very important, because I remember my mother-in-law, she was just grandma to everybody. So there was no, if she thought they did something that was inappropriate towards me, she would call them aside quietly and we would talk to them. And I would say a difference in attitude. So it was, first of all, it has to be a family that has decided that they want to make it work for everyone involved. So you have to love everybody. The woman that's coming, the woman that's already there. And also there's a good relationship between my husband, his ex-wife, and my mother-in-law, my late mother-in-law, and, you know, and their mother as well. So in that circle, I didn't get any, there was no negativity in your ear or everything. Whenever you felt any discomfort, there was always someone to reassure you, there was someone to explain to you. And I find that many people, when there's a problem, is because when you do feel like I'm not happy about something, everybody just, oh, please, shut up, whatever, you get all right.
So, I like to stay on that, because, so as a man, if you're in that situation whereby you've had to have a new wife, it's always important for us to also help out to build a support system. The new wife, help this new woman in your life, either by your mother, your sister. There's got to be somebody who wants her there, who understands that her being there makes you happy. And because they love you so much, they're also a support system, so that in situations like this,
she has somebody to cry to.
She has somebody to go to who can also reassure.
I think it worked for me because I have a strong support system. My husband's family just truly not wanted. Yes, so I had never had any feeling of, oh, why not one day have I been asked or compared to anyone. So yes,
that's support system is extremely essential. Let me take Busaya, then I'll come back to you, Dr. Busaya, are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear
you. In response to your question, like how the men should react, I'm married, but I didn't marry into, I'm not the stepmother or into polygamy, but my father, younger sister, she married, she's the second wife. But most times I notice their husband shows love to the first wife and the second wife. The second wife is my daddy's younger sister. The children went to the same school. During parties, when we have family parties, he buys the material himself. He does not give any of his wife money to do anything. When he buys, if he has money to buy a car, he buys the same Toyota Camry for the two wives, but different colors. The children, the same shoe, the same everything. So there's nothing to complain about. When they're celebrating their birthdays, different, but it's the same thing, the same party pack, everything. So there's nothing to complain about. He bought this one Lexus, he bought me Camry. Everything is the same. And I think so far the children are grown and they are all married, but we didn't see anything like conflict because he's always trying his possible best. I remember when my daddy's younger sister's wife wanted to bring her child to the secondary school we were saying, that he said no, that they will all go to the same federal government college. Nobody's going to any different.
Thank you, Messiah, for that. So you have to be well endowed. If you want to do 2 wives, be ready to buy 2 Camrys, be ready to buy 2 houses, be ready to buy to pay school fees for the same school for all of them. You know, these are expenses that you must be ready for.
I think that in any man, every human being needs to be intentional. You need to have like that self-awareness of, this is what I want for my house. This is the way I want my house to be. This is the kind of family setting I want. Because when there is no vision, everybody just goes away. There's no way to guide what's going on. Essentially, Mariah, what everybody is asking for is for the man to be a man. You know, we want a man to be a man. Take ownership, be responsible, be aware. Because one of the things that causes issues with whether polygamy or step is that the men are not aware. They will see something and they are not seeing it. Like something is right in your face, but you are not observing. You turn a blind eye. Like you're thinking, if I don't observe, if I don't notice it will not happen.
I love that.
But it's very important that you see and you address and you create a system. Like if you bring in somebody into your house, let the person know. Like I brought someone to my house recently and I told the person, I said, in this house, we don't watch this kind of movies. We don't listen to that music. And I made him know, in my house, we don't curse, we don't use any foul language. I don't want to hear it, not from your phone, not from anywhere. I established the system that works in my house to the person I'm bringing in. I believe every man must have a vision of how I want my house. I want my children to be well-cultured. They should greet. They should do. If that's what you want, then you relay it to anyone coming into your household. That way, there is no confusion.
Oh, thank you, Tokwe. I love that. So we're going to talk about how to be a man That's why we are bringing in a stepmother for your children.
How did you coin it like that?
Right back. Love it, love it.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing step-motherhood. And we would like to get calls, especially from men and women. Let us hear your experiences on this. And I would like to also ask the ladies, like, what does being a man in this situation mean? Well, as a woman, what would you like the man in your life to do in this situation? Either when the first wife is out of the picture, maybe she's passed on, or she's divorced, they're divorced, or if she's still in the picture, or if she's the first wife, you're the second or third wife. What exactly would you like the man to do? And I'd like to get some calls on this. I know. Okay, I have Princess on the phone, and I'll come to you, ladies. Princess, are you there? Hello, Princess, are you there? Okay, Bisi would like to
Yeah,
go.
so I mentioned before that a man who marries more than one, or who has another wife after the demise of the first or the second, needs to be very involved in the activities happening in the home. This is not the time for you to just provide the money and look the other way, and then you get complaints that this is happening, this person is beating me, this person is doing this to me, and you feel, go and sort it out. I feel a man's job, first of all, as the husband, is to have authority. So it's the man that institutes justice and equity and fairness in the home. You need to be able to show that you are transparent. You need to be able to show that you are involved with the activities happening in the home. So when issues come up and, you know, it will be unfair that you know the truth and you do not say it. Because even when they say, okay, we have heard, sir, there will be inbuilt resentment in those children and in that stepmother. And it could cause, you know, other issues tomorrow. So when things happen, it's good that you step in and you keep reminding them of the systems you have put in place.
But they say, for my sanity, I can't come and kill myself. These are two adults. These are two women. Let them go and sort it out.
So it's not, like Miriam mentioned while we were on break, that it's really not every battle that you need to step in. But you need to pick with discernment the battles that matter. The very strong battles that if you leave, will cause a problem along the line. So those are the very major, but the tiny, tiny issues, they gave me 2 meats, you can just...
Okay, so I know that when I say my story, it seems almost perfect, but it's not. And sometimes even in perfection, there are things. So because there's so much mutual respect, and even the ex still had good relationship with my husband and my mother-in-law, didn't mean it was just perfect. So for me, because of that closeness, I wanted to understand what the exact boundaries were. I mean, you can come in any time to come and visit. You know, after a while, I thought, really, this is now my territory.
Give
me some space, and also let me know ahead of time.
I can prepare.
That thing was blurred because it was a family where everybody was happy with each other. But, you know, when I came in, and that was something I had a conversation with my husband. And for him, it took him a while to get it. My mother-in-law sort of got it immediately. But for him, it was like, she's in no, you know, but it was something that had to be. So even in good times, even when everything is going well, there has to be boundaries. And you must enforce that as the man. And must be seen to enforce it on both sides and be fair. So that the children in the house, the older children now do not think, oh, now you have stopped our mother from coming, right? So there has to be also that conversation and the reason why. There are some battles you will lose. Sorry, there are some battles you will lose in the present time, but as the children also grow older and become more mature, they'll understand some things, and you win it.
Let me take this call from Paris. Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I just want to contribute towards this.
Please.
Thank you so much for this very topic. I hope my own session is just to advise, mothers. Is to advise people who happen to be stepmothers and also fathers who find themselves in that situation. Because I went through that problem, and my case was quite different from what BC was saying. I was the only person in the family, but it happened that my stepmother was, I cannot use the word wicked, but she didn't like him. And then she was also working in collaboration with my dad. So I don't know exactly what happened because I didn't meet my mom. And so I don't know what happened in the past. But I suffered the situation, a very, there was no love shown. And of course, my education was not cared for at that age. One very time I was in primary school. So what I want to say is that any woman who happens to find herself in that situation should be able to love the child like her own child. And the fathers also should also be able to understand the need of the child, because when a child is growing without a mother, I think that is the worst situation of any child.
Thank you.
It's very, very difficult for a child because he doesn't know the left from the right. And the other person who's supposed to take the role of a parent is the stepmother, and in collaboration with the father.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's important. I like what he said because, yes, I found that sometimes men quickly marry a stepmother in case of maybe a passing of a wife or even divorce. Quickly marry a stepmother and then forget to be father and just now move out and just move on facing their business, and they're not paying attention to the child that they have left behind. Not because you've assumed that you have married a wicked person, the person will be wicked to your child, but it's important to know that it will be a process for that child. And at that point, you're the adult that that child trusts. You're the parent that that child trusts. You hold that child's hand until that child has reached the maturity where they can even develop a relationship. You have to hold their hands, both of them, to help them develop a relationship that's almost independent of you. But fathers tend to just live, okay, now you have a mother, off you go. And also the mother is struggling to probably, you come into a home where there's a teenager. We know how teenagers are. Even as the parent, you are struggling with a teenager. Then you come in as a stepmother, thinking that this teenager just doesn't even like me. And you're not there.
I have a story. I'll come to you, Tokwe. There's a story here. She said that my stepmother came into our lives when I was 5 years old, after my mother passed. I hated her for the first 5 years of my life. And she tried to be friends with myself and my brother. Fast forward 15 years now, we are grateful that she came into our lives because she was a mother. So this is somebody who said, yes, give it time.
Give it time. You will not win everything at once.
You cannot win it at once, but give it time. Let me take this call from Chudi and I'll come to talk with Chudi, are you there?
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead,
Good
please.
Morning.
Morning.
I didn't come from a polygamous family, and I don't have a stepmother, but I have a step-sister. As in, my mother came in to meet a child of a year and 6 months, and she now started having hers later. But what I'm trying to say, Eva, is that if you are a stepmother, treat that child you met first as your own. Just be just, equity, and fairness to everybody. And mothers should not see their stepchild as somebody they are going to compete with. You need to show them maturity, show them love. In fact, my mother loved my stepsister, our stepsister, as her own first daughter. Even when her first daughter was trying to like rack shoulder with the step sister, my mother created that avenue. Look, she is your elder sister. And my stepsister loved all of us. She's the first. She loved all of us the same way. You won't even know that.
That's a very... But let me come to you. Thank you very much for your story.
Being a mother is tough. Like, even you being a mother to your children, you are the one that gave it to the children. It is tough. I know there was some kind of punishment my mom meted at me, and I'm like, I'm not sure this person is my mother. So, like, and I'm sure even in her own mind, she was like, I just have to put sense into this child or something. Like, she was confused. As parents, all of us have gone through that stage. You're looking at that.
What do I do now?
So, like, being a mother is tough. So, it's, and we must give room for someone who has to now wear that, sit in that role as a stepmom. If you are going to be a stepmom, it might not be convenient for everybody. You must have like a large heart. You must have capacity to forgive endlessly. You must have capacity to overlook time and time again, because you would have cause to, if mothers struggle to forgive their own children, how much harder would it be to forgive the ones that are not biologically their own? So let's give a bit of room and let us help women prepare themselves for this journey of being a stepmom or a second wife, because it is a tough journey that you would have to manage emotions of other people that have their own baggages, and you have to cope with all of them together. So yes,
and still come out strong.
And still
I'm getting so many messages. Stories. I mean, like, people are just sending me messages privately. And that person here, let me just paraphrase a bit long, but the situation that this person is describing is that she took care of her stepchild, because obviously that the woman passed on. And the woman passed on. So she took care of the child all the way till adulthood. But the family of the husband were still trying to reconcile the child with the family of the late mother.
Okay.
So what they try to do is now take over the child from her. She was the one that raised the child, you know, and the father was weak. So obviously her husband here wasn't strong enough, because my daughter had died. She's been taken care of. My daughter's child has been taken care of by her husband's new wife. But as she's growing older, I'm being more involved in that child, and I'm not letting the stepmother feel like she's the mother. Yeah. So she still feels like I'm not the mother of this child. So
but you need to understand you are not the mother. We see. True. You can't, let me give you a quick scenario, which is a bit different, but I just realized that some people who work for you, for instance, maybe a driver or a housekeeper, when you call them by their office, so you say driver, they feel offended. You say housekeeper, they feel offended. And I'm wondering, are you the owner of the house? No. What is your job here? You need to know where you are. You need to know your job. You need to accept your role. I am a stepmother to you. Even if I give you the love that I gave to my child, I am not your mother. If tomorrow your mother says, I am coming to do the razzmatazz, you know, some women can really be crazy. Please, it's for your own dignity. Step back. The child will realize. No, hold on.
Yeah,
It's very tough. It's painful, but it's the truth. If we can have that at the back of our minds, things will work easier. The child will realize in future.
That's it.
The child knows. See, we think children are not smart. They are smart, they are intelligent, they pay attention.
After all the work I did.
Are you doing the work to now claim, exactly, to claim ransom on the child? You are working for God. You decided to marry the man, and the man came with a baggage, and you are taking care of the child.
Okay, let me take
so please, learn your role. Learn your space. If they come tomorrow and they want to infringe, give them that space. The child will realize and come back.
Yep. Let me take this call from Nkechi. I'll come to Miriam. Nkechi, are you there?
Please.
Nkechi, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Nkechi. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, Nkechi.
Nkechi.
You're live, Nkechi. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm a product of a stepmother.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you
clearly.
So what I'm saying is, this is first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
So my point is this: there is no any good stepmother anywhere.
Yay! My heart is broken.
There is no 100% good stepmother anywhere. My own stepmother treated me like a fool. He did not welcome us, just don't want us. And again, I will say that it's my daddy's fault. Because my daddy will always want her than us. So in most cases, I would say it's the father that is always causing the problem. My daddy will always want to put us aside in order to please the wife. So in the process of trying to please the wife, he moved the children. Me and my brother was set out of the place, set out of the house, just for her to please the wife. So we become nothing. So we were just sent out of the house. So it's always my point here is that it's always the problem of our father. The father is the problem that we are always.
Nkechi, let me ask you.
Would like to add.
Nkechi, did she have her own children, and how did she treat them?
So hello.
Did she have her own children?
Yes.
So please, what you are going to say that tell the father, and again I'll say there is no good stepmother.
Nkechi, Mariam asked you a question. Please go ahead, Mariam.
I can say yes.
Okay, Nkechi, did your stepmom have her own children with your father? That's your half siblings. Did she have her own children, and how did she treat them?
Sorry.
Okay. So there's another part of this that we have not, from Nkechi's story, there's another part of this that we've not talked about. You see, when a man has his first child and second child, and there's this thing, I don't know if it's in all cultures, my first child, you want to do everything, and then the wife passes on. So that connection with my children, these are my first fruits. Second wife comes in, has her own children, but all your resources are somewhat still focused on this first child because these are your first fruits. You want to take them to the US, you want to take them to this. Things happen. Maybe they went to these private schools, and then things kind of come down a bit. By the time your second wife is here with children, you're not going to the same private schools. You're having to take the children to other schools. So that begins to happen, and it causes friction.
Yeah. So that's reality.
Yeah.
Also, you may have had your children when you were much younger, you were more involved, and then as the younger ones come, you don't have that strength to be running up and down, doing school runs. I get it. And the truth is, I've always told there's this thing I go with all the time, which is your expectations, keep your expectations low. And when you do things, do them for yourself, not for this crown at the end of the day, where they will crown you the queen of patience, the queen of the perseverance. You're doing it for yourself. And you need to be mature. You understand that the reason why the children, the younger children, your children, let's say, are not getting what the other ones had gotten is not because they don't want them for you. It's because
the timing.
Reality. Things have changed. Because that's happened other ways, where when you had the children,
things were not so good.
Things were not so good. All of a sudden, you are traveling to America to have the second set of children. You are traveling around the world. I mean, life happens. What is important? You always push. Fathers, mothers, step-parents, whatever. It's push for good relationships. And hope that, it reflects as they grow up. So some people would tell you about how a half-sibling paid for their education because their parents eventually died and there was no one. So they were just left with their half-siblings. And because of the relationship they have built, that was what happened. But there are some, as they grew older, they were just happy to be away from that stepmother. And their half-siblings, they didn't have anything, but don't have any expectations. The expectations as a mother you should have for yourself is do your best for your own children. Hope your husband does his best. And then hope also that the relationship you have built and forged and that they are bonded enough to see each other as each other's keepers. Simple.
I like that. I love that. Let me take
expectations low.
Princess from Abuja, are you there?
Remove it.
Yes, good morning.
You're live.
Go
ahead, please.
How are you doing?
Good.
I really can't hear you very well, but I'll just go ahead to make my point. My name is Princess Aboraro. I'm calling from Abuja. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Well done. Good job.
Thank you.
I grew up in a polygamous home. And the women, as usual, don't come in at the same time. And let's leave my personal experience aside. I love my stepmothers. They're wonderful people. One of them came in inexperienced, and so she acted her age. I am matured now. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. I understand life better, so I excuse some of the things that she did. I want to believe she did them out of ignorance and I see her at the time, right now, as well, she was also a victim. She came in enjoying life, and, with all that young vibe and all that. So she didn't know better, so she did the things she did. Not like they were evil things, but I wasn't just comfortable as a child. And so that aside, let us really look at this issue of stepmotherhood. I have taken some time to really, research, especially on social media, to see how women react to other people's children. Now, if you, for example, go on a women's group and another person's child is involved, look at the comments. 98 to 99% of the comments will go, like extreme. And you're wondering, is this because somebody else's child is involved? Very few persons really care. I have a friend who built a house for his stepmother first, before building for his mother, because of one singular act. He was stubborn but extremely intelligent. On one of those days, he broke somebody's head in school, and he was sent back home. His stepmother, according to him, under the rain, took him, held on to him with a baby on her back, and insisted that he must get back to school. And he pleaded and wept and cried and pleaded with the school to let him back in class. And he said as a child, that played consistently on his head. He built a house for his stepmother in Lagos and built another one for her in the village before thinking of building a house for his own mother because she wasn't there. Now, what am I trying to say in essence? If you love a man, for God's sake, you should love his children, you should love his family, you should love his friends, except there's somebody among them who is not doing right. Your job is to correct. But we go into marriages with a lot of wickedness in our heart. A lot of us do these things. Not because, see, what you give is what you have is what you give.
Yeah.
If you listen to your friends and you hear them talk, you see some of the things that they do. And you hear some of the way they react to people's children, even when the child is their husband's child. Let us stop this grammar that we speak every day. We should learn to love, because if we give love, the world will be a better place.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
May I follow up quickly?
Yes, sorry, I'm waiting. Thank you.
Okay,
so, fantastic story. There's really a lot of lessons to learn from there and a lot of perspective that makes sense. But I wanted to say something. Like what she said, she, in hindsight, realized a lot of things. And there are many people that are in relationships that are going through challenges that we must normalize seeking professional help. And we need to normalize seeking psychological help, like psychiatrist help. We should normalize going to therapy. Because sometimes your personal experiences and baggages from your previous life, your own parenting, the way your parents raised you, when you bring it into another relationship, it will scatter things that are on ground. And you might come with all good intentions, but the intentions don't match what is on ground. So we must normalize making children or parents or people in relationship visit psychologists. I know someone, a personal relationship, someone I've spoken to, this child is going through a lot of trauma. The mom has left him alone as a child. He's grown up between two mothers, and then the mom is back in his life and is pulling him. So now he's in between a mom that is not there and a father that is not estranged. What kind of child are you raising in that space? Like, because of the tussle between, I want to now be involved in my child's life. By force. And then the father is saying, I don't want you. You abandoned these children long ago. You have left a child in between who is traumatized. I think that we all need to always visit, think of how the child is thinking or how he's feeling, and normalize therapy.
Let me take this call. Good morning, Tolu. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I wanted to...
I can't hear you. The volume is a bit low.
I wanted to tell you a bit of my story.
Please.
Okay. I'm also, like, I'm a second wife. I will not say I'm a second wife per se, because I didn't make the first wife, but I met her children when it was like 5 years. One is 4 and one is 6 there. Okay. But the only thing I know concerning what this is saying, that maybe we should have patience with those children when they were growing up, maybe they will change or whatever. I wanted to say something. When someone is having patience and trying to love those children back, and because that maybe those children were being poisoned by their mother, because their mother was not actually at home around. And they were being poisoned to the extent that he was giving them a poison to give to me and my own team.
Poison?
Yes, that I lost 3 pregnancies during this period of time.
Wow.
They poisoned my whole food.
Wow.
Wow,
she was giving them poison.
She was talking about how when you say, when BC and we are saying be patient, but there's wickedness from the part of the other, the first wife, and then she said she lost 3 pregnancies because they were putting poison in her food.
Okay, so let's step back a bit.
Yeah.
Using this woman's story. So yes, there's a woman involved. They're no more, maybe they're divorced and all that. What role does a man play to make the place conducive for you to come in? So they are on. And they are issued unresolved issues that may have caused somebody to come and poison you. So the first wife feels like you shouldn't be there, and maybe then finds a way to get rid of you, either kill you, poison your children, or do something to bring harm to you. So what does the man do to clear up the mess before you step on officially as a stepmother?
I've just realized that wicked people are wicked. A wicked human being is wicked. In a workplace, they will take that wickedness to marriage. They will take the wickedness in raising their children. They will take the wickedness to the family. Wherever they are, that wickedness will show up. And that is how you would come to a place where there are children and you want to separate your own because you feel these are not mine. We are working from a place of wickedness. So what I would advise is, I think everybody, whether it's the man, the woman, the children, we need to get into a place of being a good human being. We need to get into a place of love, because a good person, no matter the situation, if you lift that person up and put in a very toxic and horrible situation, should we find a way to make it work? And should we win with love? You know, I've seen stepmothers who were in positions where they were, you know, from all sides, they were being hit back to back. But they held on to love. When it's an opportunity for them to do something, they do it good for everybody, irrespective of who owns which child. They make sure that the father pays the school fees of everybody. They are not buying McDonald's for one and buying Amala for the other one. They make sure, no matter how painful it is, and they always come out on top. So if we give ourselves that, you know, is it prerogative, I will call it now, that we, in any situation, we are good human beings. And what does a good human being entail? That you treat another person the way you want the person to treat you.
Let me tell you,
we solve most of the problems we have from generation to generation.
Let me tell you, and I'll come to you, wickedness can be relative.
How come?
Because the truth is that if we got married and we are a middle-class family and things went bad for your husband, and you as a woman, you are doing your best to do best for your children. You want your children to go to good schools. And so his own children are there. He's unable to take them to the private schools. But you can afford.
Are you separating the resources?
There's a story right here
So
that somebody said that that they all went to, like, they went to school here, and that the stepmother was able to had enough money to send our own kids abroad because she could afford it.
We're saying the same thing.
I'm saying, so when you have that child, the other children will say you're wicked because you're carrying your children abroad. Because that's wickedness on the part. But you see, if I can afford it, I want my children to study abroad. I want to have that money.
And you're in the same house.
In the same house.
With the same father. You're causing separation already. Tomorrow you go back and say, I did not do anything to them and they hated me.
Togetherness. We should all have a public school.
Yes. That is actually what it means. When you now decide to
send
go
the
into
other
a
good
home.
children to abroad.
Yeah, so when you decide to go into a home to be a polygamous, part of polygamous family, that's what you're saying, that it is socialism here, common interest for everybody.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
But if it's single, that is one. But also, what goes around comes around. There's a friend of mine, we served together, and she was saying how when she was growing up with her stepmom, she would have her carry tomatoes and pepper on her head in a bucket to go and grind while her children were sitting pretty watching TV. She learned to cook under strenuous atmosphere, you know. But now that she's older, she's the one that can cook. She's the one that they depend on to do things. The children,
almost useless.
Can't do anything. The stepmother calls for her, please help me do this, do this. So if you do good, you do for yourself. If you do bad, you do it for yourself.
Let me take this call. Vincent, are you there?
Hello, yes.
We have lots of messages.
Yes, you're live, Mr. Vincent. Go ahead, please.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing them. I don't know why.
Okay.
And my mom was the second. So the first left, then my mom became the first. But do you believe, I didn't even know my stepbrother was on my mom's until we were in primary 3 or 4. That the mom came to school and was saying blah, blah, blah. And he ran, we were going practically going to same school. And he ran to my class and said, somebody said, is the mom. And I said, you know, because I was both from childhood. I said, Mama, you better be going there. Are you the bomb of both sides? But we got home and I asked my mom, somebody came to school and said, Dele is his son. My mom said I should describe. I described that. My mom now told me the story. But do you know my younger ones never knew until this guy wanted to marry? I and my other brother, because we were about the same bracket, were the only ones that knew that my mom was not Dele's mom. You know, practically my mom took care. Hello?
We can hear you.
Yes, practically my mom took care of everybody, and nobody ever knew that Dele was never my mom's child until we got to, until it was done with university when he wanted to marry.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is that, like Socrates said, people said, a good person is
a good person.
If you have a good stepfather, you will always be good. If you have a good stepmother, you will always be good. And if you have a bad one, they will always be bad. No matter what you put into the
relationship to make it look good from the other side.
Right. Thank you very much, Vincent.
We have a lot of messages.
Messages, please. YouTube, Facebook.
Yes, I'm on Facebook. The person said, stepmother, good topic, but very sensitive one. You don't have to be a biological mother before you can be a good mother. It's inbuilt. We have We have good and bad women. Some women find it difficult to treat other women's child properly. Another case is the child accepting the stepmom. Also, the man has a huge role to play. He needs to be very observant. He needs to be very transparent. There needs to be no favoritism and make sure the relationship works. Titi Layo says, just go enter Amo so that the father can love her own children more or try to change their destiny of those that she met. I'm talking from experience. Change destiny because they go and check the future. Very sad. Ramota says, being a stepmother is difficult if you don't have a supportive husband. Yes. Ife says, because it is not only women that are step, but we also have people that are married to widows, divorced, or single moms.
Okay, I have one here. She says that, so her husband, let me paraphrase again, her husband actually, most of his resources for his first children. So she, I mean, because her own children are younger, she's saving up her own money. They're still young, but she's saving up her own money to make sure they get exactly the kind of education that he's having. So there's always that issue of, okay, who do I share my resources to? These ones are older. Do they need it, or is it the younger ones, or should I spend my resources on these ones while these are growing up? There's always that issue.
That issue should not come up, Mariah, if you want to be sincere and you want to be fair and you want to be just. Are they not from your loins? Are they not your children? Why are you selecting which resources is best for this person? If God has blessed you and you can take care of all your children, why don't you give them the best and give it to them equally?
No, because right now, you find yourself in a situation where you cannot do as much as you used to. You can't do as much. So,
that you're falling.
Okay, let's just say that you met him when his children were just about to go into university and they were supposed to go abroad for university. And now you have children. It will mean taking from you at home to make sure that they get their dream. So do you now tell those ones going off to Harvard, I'm sorry, we can't do Harvard anymore because you now have younger ones. We have to share the resources. The children now are thinking, you brought children, now all of a sudden, all the dreams and aspirations and everything you promised us, you are breaking it because you decided to go and have
children. So that's where the wickedness part comes. So those are real life issues. Let me take Mohammed. Mohammed, are you there? Mohammed, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I'm from a polygamous family. My mom is the first wife, but I was so young I didn't know when they divorced with my dad. What I know is that I was like 3 years when I was with my grandmother, but the second wife that dad got married to, nobody knew that she wasn't our mom. We lived in Surulere then, we didn't know she wasn't our mom because she took good care of us. At the time, my elder ones knew our mom, but I was so young, I think I was 3 years. But I was living with grandma, though it was a better experience though. But this woman was so nice to us that nobody knew in the area that she wasn't our mom. And whenever my mom came, I realized that she used to tell us that whatever kids she gives to my dad is that they are our siblings. I can remember one of my half brothers, the day we visited my mom, the boy refused to give my mom. He refused to give my mom. We had to beg, do everything. It was a small boy like us, then. So it depends on the man, how the man actually operates in the house.
Thank you, Mohammed. Let me come to what Mohammed said, this issue of they should not know that this is my stepmother. I mean, that is like our African way of showing that, oh, I am being a real mother, where the child doesn't know. But is that the right thing to do? Shouldn't we, be very transparent in this? Yes, I am not your mother, but I would love you like a mother. I mean,
where would the conversation come up?
Exactly.
So, because
if you're loving this child, Mariah, if you're loving this child, nobody will ask conversation will hardly come up.
But wouldn't the child feel betrayed in future? That I'm just finding out that you're my mother.
I think that they are usually happier. They are happier because you see, the truth is, while My kids, I told you off air, my kids, the way my kids are fighting now, imagine if they know. If somebody now says that, you know your brother.
That last one.
They will not just fight fighting.
Yes. The regular fight that children will fight on a normal day will not become, you are fighting because he's not your brother. You're fighting because he's not your, you are half. There are things that would have happened.
But there are family members, even though you as a mother, you don't want to. There's always that auntie in the family.
So that's why there must be a vision. There must be a family, an idea that here, there is no stepmom or stepdad. Yeah. Everybody here, we are one, we are building a team. This is a family, we are going to succeed together, that kind of thing. So that there's nobody feeling any form of division among one person or the other. That must already be established on ground. But I also wanted to, I like what Mariam said, which is the reality of the fact that when you are dealing with adult children, we must be able to have those conversations. If you don't tell the child, because when they are small, their emotions, they don't even understand what emotions they are going through. Yeah. So, but when they grow up, maybe at the time when they're like done with secondary school or going into the university, at that point they might know that, okay, your mom passed on when you were a baby, or, you know, something funny like that, because there are some stories where the mom passed on. It's not like the mom, there was a divorce or something. And then you let the child know at that point that I'm actually not your biological mom. Something happened. But as much as possible, that oneness must be
because I mean, I know that because I mean, for my own story, myself and my sister were my half sister were so close. I mean, and people will come and be telling us, it's when your father dies that this thing will just separate. You know, we put things in our minds, in the subconscious. That, after daddy dies like this, everybody will go their separate ways. And we're thinking, what's all this? You know, but just know. But when daddy now father died, everybody just went their separate ways. And I was so shocked because we didn't want it that way. But
they are sowing the seed constantly.
They be sowing because people always sow that seed. So I think the earlier there's full disclosure from the beginning, everybody knows what was. But
I think it was the way it was handled. Yes. I think when you started hearing that, people would have had a conversation with your mothers. And then they would say, yes, things like this happen, but this is what you should do to make sure. Then you start building it. Yeah. So the truth is that it did not happen that way because that is what was meant to happen or because people said it. It happened that way because you actually let it happen. Yeah. So if you want to build it, you have to work on it.
Let me take Okwayemi that comes to BC. Okwayemi, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I had such experience, even though I wasn't born into a polygamous family. But I met a man some years back. The wife was late, so he had 2 children. The younger daughter was schooling around my area. So during their visiting day, I'll go to the school, bring the child to my house, do the child's hair, do everything for her, shop for her. So there was a time they were traveling to UK for their vacation. So I now called. The father came to Ibadan to come and pick her without even notifying me. So when they now got to the airport, the father was now calling me that they are going to UK. I said, but you passed through my house. He said, yes. I said, you have to be able to inform me. He said that he was sorry. I said, no problem. So later, when they now came back, I now called. He distanced the children from me later. So when he now started calling, so I now said, because anytime he calls, I first of all ask of the children first. So I now said, can I speak to Sharon? He said, you now give the phone to the girl. The girl was now asking, who is Auntie Okwe? I just felt bad. That's what. The girl that I was going to the hotel to go and pick, place her hair, do shopping for. So later when the children now traveled to Canada to study, so he now wanted to come back. So I just think, so it's because of the children that you wanted me to be caring for, not actually that you really wanted me. So now that you are lonely, you now need somebody to be with. No, it can't work. You have to love me for whom I am. I care for your children. Not that I did not care for the children. I have a good heart towards the children. But you took them away from me. So what if I have married you, cared for the children, till when they are adults? So that's how they will not behave. You will not behave. They will not be thinking, who is she? She's not our mother.
All right, thank you very much.
But BBC already answered everybody's question, so you must know your place. Know that you are where you stand, and let's reduce, like Mariam said, reduce expectations from where, because people may, like I tell people, you don't, we've already said it, that no longer plan with your children as your children are not your future plan. You know, they're not your retirement. Your children are not your retirement. You cannot say, I'm investing in my children because they will now take care of me when I'm old. That's what happens with a lot of parents. So when you don't have a stepchild, it becomes worse because you put a lot of effort into raising that child, and then you feel the child is going to meet his mom, but I was the one that was there for your child.
Yeah, but I think we need to start taking responsibility for whatever happens in our lives and in our marriages. So it's not about what people are saying or what the society expects. It's the laws and the rules and the systems that you put in place and how you want your family to operate. And it's the man who has the authority that should institute all of this and follow through. It's not about saying it and minding their business, but following through. So I wanted to go to the issue where, for instance, you have planned to train the first children abroad and all that, and then the money has reduced, and we are now looking, if we send them to Harvard, we will not have money to pay for this one. This is the time to call your children and have the round table conversation with them. Now, these children also need to understand that it's the responsibility of their parents to take care of them. If they can. If they cannot, there's nothing you can do about it. So if they say, instead of going to Harvard, why don't you go to another university in this place? It should not be something that you want to kill him for. Go and work for your money and send yourself to school. You can always go to Harvard later in future. So if we have that roundtable conversation, this is what I planned before. But you people can see now things are not as it used to be. Yes. And I want you in love to understand with me. It's not because I no longer love you, but it's because this is the situation. And I have other people coming. Why do you want to blame the parents for not having another wife and having more children? Let me take this call. Their choice and their money.
Right. Bryce from Abuja, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, people. How's everyone doing?
We're doing well. Go ahead, please.
Great.
Yes, let me start from the angle of this topic. It's a wonderful topic. I have an experience in the real sense that I have an auntie that she's the last wife, and she had about 10 children to take care of.
Whoa.
In fact, when she got married, she was 21 when she married. Those children, some of them are of her age.
Whoa.
But guess what? If they did not tell you she's actually not the mother of those children, you will never know.
She's a good person.
Because the way she takes care of her own, that's how she handles all of them, to the point that most times, even when the husband is against those children, she stands in for them. At the point, she sends them to places that even some of them, at the point, one of the mothers came back and said that, don't worry, I'm not here, but be rest assured that this woman will do a better job than me. That's on one hand. The second hand, one of you mentioned something regarding when you have a housekeeper or you have a driver. A driver is a driver, a housekeeper is a housekeeper. Wait, let's get this clear. My point is this. Everybody knows his role. We know he's a driver. We know he's a cleaner. But you see, where the problem is I work with an international organization where a director of an office cannot address his driver as a driver. He calls him his colleague. Because when they travel, they both being paid the same external code. Right? My point is, we all know our duty. Just like you guys are here, I cannot come and call Mariah and say newscaster or program assistant. I have to call her Mariah. I can call Aisha as well, but her name. But the point is, it's like a head of the house saying to his wife, you should understand that I'm the head of this house. It means that you have lost the headship of that house. Because your behavior should be able to put everybody in their position.
Thank you very much, Bright.
I think they misunderstood what she was saying.
Yes, I know. There's a part where he mentioned, I've been trying to get to that point, where he says one of the mothers came and say, as long as you're here, I know that my children are good. And so that's one thing I also want to say with my own family is that my stepchildren are very well-behaved, really, polite, you know. There's no rancor, whatever. And for me, apart from my husband, I also feel that it has to do a lot with their own mother on the outside. Because if she was pushing things in their ears and saying things, there will not be peace in my house. So it's important that everybody's hands are on deck to make it work. It's important the woman on the outside, the biological mother, whoever, on the outside has to also be interested in making sure that that house is conducive for her children. Because she may say, okay, I'm going to make it so inconducive for you, but it will also affect her children. So everything we do goes around and it comes around.
It must be laced in love.
Thank you for taking us there, because the woman outside, we've not talked about her.
Yes.
So she might be the actually one causing the problem internally. So we must ensure that she also understands we are doing everything in the best interest of the children. At the end of the day, it's about them.
Sometimes it's also not about the woman outside. There may not be any woman outside, but the children already have the mentality that you are not my mother. And there's nothing you can do about it. And they start acting out based on the ideas that they have that you are not my mother or you're trying to replace.
Let me take more calls. Rita, are you there? Do you have more messages?
Yes, morning.
Morning, you're live. Rita, go ahead, please.
Yes. One of the callers said something that there is no good stepmother anyway.
Yes.
That was wrong.
Word that she spoke, that there's no good stepmother anywhere. There is good stepmother. My mother was a good stepmother to my stepbrother.
Yay!
Very well. Even more than our own children. So I don't know if some people are being wicked to their own stepchildren, but for me, I stopped seeing my mother treating my stepbrothers even better than the way she treated us. So that's my own opinion this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You know, Mariah, I was asking that lady how that woman also treated her children. There are also some women that are quite harsh, and they treat their children just as harshly. But when a stepmother is treating a stepchild harshly, and it is viewed, like you said, it is viewed through the eyes of, it's because I'm the stepchild. There are some punishments my mom has given me that I have questioned. I remember packing my load as a child and saying, please take me to my own mother. And told my mother that, you know. And she was looking at me and laughing. Imagine if I now found out that she actually wasn't my mom.
The reaction
that explains it.
Differently. I just remember something. When growing up, my stepmother, I think I've said it before, my stepmother would never allow me to go into the kitchen. I mean, I used to think she was the best stepmother in the world. Sit down, watch TV. I thought I would be in the kitchen cooking and malad, everything. I was sitting there watching TV. She would not allow me. I must not say, what do you need? Water? Okay, we'll bring the water for you. So I thought I was
You felt you were balling.
I thought I was balling. So I used to enjoy going there, not knowing that.
You were training one.
One of my stepmothers told me that I will not train you. You will not enter the kitchen as long as I'm in this house. You will not do anything because you're not my child. I don't care. I will not, told me, I will not train you. And she, all the time she was in that house, I did not enter the kitchen. I did not, unfortunately for her, God had other plans for me. Like I cook great. You wouldn't even believe I was not raised by a woman.
But what sort of child were you to her? Were you giving her
no, but you should not be sick.
Wait. Because she has the capacity to do young. Imagine when you come into a house and there's this teenage girl saying, let me tell you.
I was a teenager. I think I was 9, 10 at the time. What did I know?
Yeah, but it's
you know, when you're a baby, we know you know.
We know you know. Olumide says, one of your callers said there is no good stepmother, and she put the blame on the father for always trying to please the wife against their own interests, which is true. When your stepmom is the only wife of your father and your mother is not in the house to protect your interests, your biological father will betray the trust you used to put in him before your stepmother moved into the house. Those who have good stepmothers are lucky. I think we say that there are many good stepmothers.
I wanted to quickly answer someone who said, you know, I talked about, I was giving an analogy and I used the driver. So I just meant that as a human being and you have a role, so you get into a place and you know you're coming in, you have other children, you are their stepmother. Do not surpass your expectation of, do not at some point or any point, no matter how hard you have worked for them, now start asserting that you are their mother. Because the truth is, yes, biologically they are not yours. If tomorrow their mother decides to come and play the role, the honorable thing to do is to step back and let it play out. And don't start dragging children with somebody. So do your role, know your role, enjoy your role, give it your best, be a good human being in doing your role, and leave the rest to God. That's what I meant.
Analogy, right? If a driver is a driver or a housekeeper is a housekeeper, we have heard of these drivers and housekeepers. They have done their job and even done it beyond what they are meant to do. They have become family. So I think that's what you're trying to say, that a stepmother can carry herself in such a way that nobody even remembers that she's stepmother. Everybody treats her without that connotation of stepmother because she has carried herself and done everything like a mother.
My final words, please. I want us to remember that the vulnerable ones in all this relationship are the children. Like when you marry, you divorce, you separate your widow, you have children. And these children are your responsibility. They did not beg you to come to this world. Put their emotional well-being as priority in your relationship.
I think what I took most from this is the fact that don't wait for that crown of perseverance that, oh, come on, yes, I am the woman that did it all. I took care of the children. They did not even know I was a stepmother.
Be the queen. Do your best and
be a good human being.
And leave the rest. That's all we can take on the show. Join us again tomorrow. See you then. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.